And a similar sort of thing is running through, I guess, central bank regulatory requirements around the world at the moment, and even here in New Zealand. Everybody, be in no doubt, I've got to get a wee bit serious here, be in no doubt that the absolute bejeebers was scared out of bankers, out of central bankers, policymakers generally, by what happened in the middle of September 2008 when that Lehman Brothers investment bank collapsed. The whole global financial system just ground to a halt. Money could not flow around. Banks could not refinance maturing loans around the planet. And that's the way we would get into the Great Depression scenario. Not the dairy prices fall, not the tourists don't come, but the fact that the 40% of the money we lend you that we've got to get from foreigners, it pretty much completely dried up for a period of about 6 or 7 weeks or so. And maybe one day some version of that comes around and we all want to be better prepared for it. So we're getting increasing reserve liquidity requirements, as it were, from the Reserve Bank put in place. And the upshot of all that in a bit more conservative environment is this relatively stark comment. Whatever conversation you had with your bank 3 years ago about a project, which you didn't do and now you do want to do, you will not have the same conversation today. We will still talk. We've definitely got the capital there. We've got the liquidity. We definitely want to do the lending. But instead of, you remember that documentation that was that thick on the cash flows? It's going to have to be quite a bit thicker now. You're going to have to go out a wee bit further. And maybe some of those projected debt-equity ratios, they're going to have to be knocked back a little bit as well. It's an environment in which the importance of getting some capital in alongside you has actually increased reasonably strongly. Because what went wrong with the world was too much money sloshed around, too willingly put in banks, lent out, borrowed, etc. And so this is what changed. And the consoling factor for New Zealand is that was the change for us post-1987. For ourselves now, it is a tightening up, but it is nowhere near what it was, the situation back then, about 20 or so years ago. Exchange rate, if anyone wants to have a guess on the exchange rate, please do, because that's all I'm going to do right now, is guess it, I can assure you. I can pretty much prove I can't forecast the exchange rate. Take whatever my weekly overview was in any month last year, it's going to be wrong on exchange rate, okay? For at least half of them. I don't know which half. The Kiwi dollar, it's a risky currency. When people feel worried about the world, they move their money back home. And remember, we need to borrow money every day from these people overseas to finance our way of living. So that makes it harder for us to get funding, tends to make our interest rates go up and the currency goes down. When people feel the world economy is improving, it's getting a wee bit better, they'll start to put money into riskier ventures, your companies maybe. They'll buy shares. They'll go also and purchase risky currencies like the Kiwi dollar. And that probably explains why we had that record 6-month rise in the Kiwi against the greenback last year. It was that willingness to tolerate risk associated with share markets rising as well. So if the world economy continues to improve, I think it's reasonable to expect the Kiwi dollar will continue to appreciate sort of on average. I could still easily see, I can see, 75 cents for the Kiwi dollar against the greenback, for instance. I don't know where we're going to go against the pound. I haven't had, I think, a believable put some money on it view on the Kiwi against the pound for some time. All I can say is that it's virtually guaranteed, at least one person in this room might have come across there 10 or 12 years ago, and you're still waiting for the 27.5 pence to come back to move into New Zealand, the 200,000 pounds you've still got sitting back there. All I can say to you is, that's fine for us banks because, POMs come into New Zealand, etc., and you want to own a house, so either you use the money you bring across or you come to us banks and get a mortgage. Well, we've got lots of mortgages to POMs and you've still got X 100,000 sitting back there. Initially waiting for 27.5, then 29 pence, 33, 35, 37, probably 45 you're waiting for now. I wouldn't get too optimistic about a big pullback in the near future. Things don't necessarily look that flash over there. Like I say, I could wrap it on for 2.5 hours would actually be my estimate. But what I'll do is actually stop here. Thanks for having me.